It's common for recipes to call for fresh cracked black pepper in a dish, but does it really make a noticeable difference? Is it worth grinding your own spices when there are so many readily available pre-ground spices in the grocery aisle? The answer is generally yes. It does make a difference, but it also takes extra time, so I tend to use both pre-ground and grind my own. My name is Chef Jeremy with Lineage Culinary, and today I will give you some tips on when it's time to break out your spice grinder. The reason that herbs and spices add so much flavor is because of aromatic compounds in the plant. When you add herbs and spices, you're really adding aroma, and aroma is what truly makes up flavor. Remember that there are only 5 tastes, but there are thousands of smells, so scent and taste work together to produce what we experience as flavor. The flavors we perceive from herbs and spices are usually in the form of terpenes and other aromatic compounds that are highly volatile. So that is why it is best to chop or grind these ingredients fresh. They will be at their most fragrant when fresh ground. Volatile compounds initially float up to your nose and produce a strong fragrance, but they start to weaken as the smell evaporates. Basil is a good example of this. Freshly torn basil leaves fill the room with that familiar basil aroma, but heat and evaporation will cause it to lose potency over time. When we're talking about grinding spices, we're mainly talking about spices that come in the form of whole berries, seeds, and bark, like black pepper, nutmeg, fennel, cumin, cinnamon, coriander, clove, and star anise. And the reason for that is the aromatic compounds, the oils and terpenes, can be preserved in the whole spice, and they don't start to break down until the spice is crushed. So the impact of grinding fresh is going to be much more pronounced when you use these types of spices. In my opinion, the most useful spice to grind fresh is black pepper. And if you take anything away from this video, I hope it is to incorporate freshly ground black pepper into your cooking. The reason is because black pepper is used so frequently in most cuisines. It's a perfect pairing to salt, and I use it every day. I cannot emphasize enough the difference it will make in your cooking by simply adding fresh ground black pepper versus pre-ground. Black pepper is pungent and mildly bitter. It contains the terpenes piperine, pyrene, limonene, and myrcene, which add a woody and floral aroma with notes of citrus and fruit. Pre-ground black pepper will provide pungency and heat, but it will lack the depth and aroma of fresh ground black pepper. You lose those additional aroma notes from the terpenes. What elevates cooking from good to great is depth and complexity, which can come from adding aromatic vegetables, herbs, spices, wine, vinegars, and other ingredients. When buying whole black pepper, look for Telecherry black pepper. Black pepper is dried and sorted by size. Telecherry peppercorns are the larger sized peppercorns and have more defined pungency and aroma. Now let me show you some of the best ways to grind spices. A mortar and pestle is one of the world's oldest cooking tools, and there's something deeply satisfying about crushing spices with this ancient technique. To use a mortar and pestle, you want to place your seasoning into the mortar and then use the pestle to grind that seasoning up. What I like about a mortar and pestle is it really gives you a good amount of control on the size of your grind. This is also great for grinding up garlic and making fresh herbs into a pesto. A spice grinder is the tool I use most often. They are small, inexpensive, and easy to use. I use it primarily for black pepper, and I don't even bother to clean it out between uses most of the time. Now, I don't grind black pepper every single time I need it, but what I do is tend to grind some, what I need for a couple of days, and then I'll store it in a plastic container sealed at room temperature. Now, if the spice is going to be the star of the show, like in cacio e pepe, which is pasta with just black pepper and cheese, I absolutely will grind fresh because it's one of the featured ingredients in that dish. The spices I recommend you buy whole and grind to order for the most impact are black pepper, clove, and star anise. Some whole spices are better when you toast them before you grind them, and those are typically spices like coriander, fennel, and cumin. Now what you do is you get a pan and you heat it with no oil in it, then add your seasonings and just let that cook over medium heat until you start to hear it popping and you'll start to smell the spice. Some spices are best grated using a microplane, and for me those are cinnamon sticks and whole nutmeg. It's important that you break the whole nutmeg open and grate the inside versus the exterior part. Now to grate your nutmeg, like I said, you want to make sure you remove this outer shell. This is not the part of the nutmeg that you want to grate, so you can either use the side of a knife, or I've got a bench scraper here. You want to break that nutmeg, and then you're going to grate this part. And just run that over the microplane, over whatever you're adding that nutmeg to. and that'll give you a real nice aromatic touch to your dish. And that's my advice on grinding spices. I hope that was helpful. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe to our channel. My name's Chef Jeremy with Lineage Culinary. Thank you for watching.